Hello and welcome to Family Town Foundation Friday on the Authority of Love with our co-host David Walls. I'm your host Greg Williams, and we're glad that you, listening or viewing, however you may be joining us as an audience, we're thankful for that and ask that you share these. We're getting good feedback and we sure appreciate that. Hopefully we're helping you understand these issues and giving you some foundational pieces. And thanks for your encouragement. David, welcome again, brother.
It's good to be with you, Greg.
Thank you, man. It's always good to be with you. How are you doing? I know we're right on the verge of Thanksgiving. Here we are, right?
Yeah, we're going to be visiting some family. Looking forward to the opportunity to get together with family. Look, we have much to be thankful for.
Yes, we do.
So,
there's a lot of frustration, but I'm
Yeah.
always opting for the other side, as
Yes.
the Bible tells us to.
Yeah.
And then we're right around the corner is Christmas, and if you haven't figured out, man, I'm a holiday freak.
I know.
Man.
Well, you've already outed yourself as someone who jumps straight to Christmas and forgets about Thanksgiving.
No, I've explained that, David. Everything I have to be thankful for is because of Christmas. Okay, that's why I do that. But I understand people thinking that, and that's fine. I'm just a big kid, man. I've got 2 grandchildren to play with, and this is the 3rd time for me now.
Yeah.
When my children came, as yours did, and now I got grandchildren, 1 on the way in 26. So we're excited about that, and. We're excited again that you've joined us and hope you're preparing for a wonderful Thanksgiving and then on into Christmas. And obviously we'll be with you several times before then, Lord willing. David, we want to revisit something that we've talked about before, but shockingly, it's come up again almost every day. Gambling, and in particular sports betting. Nobody saw this coming, and there's a new case nearly every day in various sports across the board. Let me say this, and then I want to get your thoughts on this. You combine high-profile athletes with lots of money and syndicated crime, then you legalize it thinking you're doing good, and that's just the perfect storm. We're seeing that, aren't we?
It is, Greg. And honestly, before we were, as we were preparing to record, I started to try to pull together all the different gambling, sports betting related. Just in the last couple of weeks, you can't even keep it all straight.
Yeah.
But you've had obviously a massive scandal in the NBA with a coach and a Hall of Fame player arrested, and other players directly implicated.
And the mob.
The mob.
5 families.
You can't write this any better as a movie script.
Truth is stranger than fiction. Right?
Absolutely, but we continue to see issues at the NCAA at different levels with student athletes getting caught up in this. You've had a major scandal now in Major League Baseball where you had where it looks like pitchers were literally on this so-called prop betting side, like literally. I think I read something, Greg, where there might even have been text communications during games.
Yeah.
Where to throw pitches,
on your 3rd pitch, make it a ball or something.
Right.
Literally, because people are betting on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's and then there's been conversations and accusations and maybe even an investigation in the UFC. It is all up and down the sports, and this is what happens when you cut loose a vice.
That's right.
With the amount of money that we're talking about now, billions and billions of dollars, and even for high-profile athletes that you would sometimes go, well, why? You're already making
millions of dollars.
These are athletes that are incredibly competitive, and this whole industry feeds into that mindset, which is part of the reason why it's continuing to be such a deep concern for young men.
Yes.
And increasingly, even kids and minors. But look, the reality is, human nature hasn't changed. We have seen these types of gambling related scandals as it relates to sports over many years. You saw the sports league say we're going to have nothing to do with it to the best of our ability because it threatens the integrity of our sport. It does threaten the integrity of their sport.
Exactly right.
But they, the idol of money, was thrown around, and you had this race in states to legalize sports betting, and now you see this massive industry that is calling into question pretty much every sporting event at the professional level. And look, it's not going to stay just at the professional level.
No, it's just a matter of fact. You said earlier, NCAA, they're having things. It's interesting because we now know, we do know scientifically that just as with drugs and alcohol, the people that make money off of these things know that they're addictive. So once they get you going, they just continue to make money regardless of your health or your state of mind. Same thing is true with pornography. The same thing is true with gambling, video games, all these different. Some of them are not in and of themselves evil or wrong. But you just put them out there and think that just because you make them legal, they're okay. We said this from the beginning. We're seeing exactly what we said we would see. And folks, as David alluded to, article after article, you can't even find them all in the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is, Greg, and it's a reminder that we've got to pull the plug out from all of this, and I know that's going to be incredibly difficult. And
like Obamacare. How do we put the toothpaste back in the tube,
I mean,
right?
it's incredibly hard once you create a government incentive to partner with these vice industries. You create a financial incentive for the citizens to essentially try to fleece your own citizens.
Yes.
We live in a society where
and gambling
addiction,
has always done that.
Oh, absolutely.
Along with every other addiction, it literally fleeces your own people.
Right. And it's even worse now, Greg, because of the digital age, because of the cell phone, that essentially every internet-connected device, every cell phone now is a mini casino. And that's how these industries are targeting people. Yeah. Yeah. They know exactly how to hook people, to get them addicted, to keep them, drip, 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 providing them opportunities to continue to throw money at this. And so, what does that mean? Well, it means, and I've seen some of these recent stats. We're seeing significant increases in the harm to the family dynamics, bankruptcies going up amongst families where gambling takes place. Greg,
which we knew all along. Yeah, this is what we were talking about.
And I've even seen some studies pointing to the fact that we're seeing an increase in domestic violence. Yeah. Because the men most of the time that are participating in this. Losing money, taking it out on their family. I mean, the harm just continues on down the line. And so I do want to mention, though, and this is what's interesting. Yeah. The gambling industry is one of the few industries where, so we see front and center now exactly what can happen when this goes wrong with all these folks getting caught up in these sports betting scandals. But then the gambling industry and those supporting it just double down and say, well, this is actually a sign that it's working. This is exactly what we were hoping to have happen, was to have every major sports league get caught up with the FBI and the mafia and
bringing it into the light.
Right. But I just have a former state legislator, Adam Koenig, who was continues to be a big proponent of the gambling industry and sports betting. He had an article, an editorial in the Herald Leader, and he literally said, essentially, he was pushing back on any calls to reverse course on the sports betting industry, and said that all these gambling scandals are, quote, a sign that the system has worked the way it should, and that legalizing sports betting has pulled this activity out of the shadows, he says, away from the mafia.
Yeah. Five
mafia families apparently involved in this.
In some way or another, yes.
But again, his argument here is all just about the money.
Yes, exactly.
And he makes no connection, doesn't seem to give any consideration to the harm that it's doing, the addiction side of it, the kids and young men that are getting caught up in it, and the harm that comes from family. And we will continue to beat this drum.
Yes.
The reality is the social costs, the social harms always far outweigh any little bit of money that the government thinks it's going to take from the gambling companies by fleecing their own citizens.
Well, and let me finish my thought as you brought it out again, as I started with earlier. Just because you legalized marijuana doesn't take away the fact that people like to get high, get addicted to it, and there's long-term psychosis. Yeah. Just because you legalize gambling and say it's okay in our country or our state doesn't change all the damage that it does. Right. It doesn't matter who's making the money off of it. Yeah. The damage is still there. And I've said this many times, David, even on this show. You can't be physically conservative and socially liberal.
Right.
Because the cost will far outweigh, if you're socially liberal, the cost to make up for the damage that's being done. You won't take in enough money.
Right,
And
absolutely.
you never can. So let's transition
Yeah.
a little bit. Sports, we've been talking about
Yeah.
on the gambling side, but we're also talking about saving women's sports. SCOTUS is going to hear, Supreme Court is going to hear something.
Yeah, we just recently found out that the date for oral arguments for the Save Women's Sports case, the challenges to state Save Women's Sports laws, is going to be January 13th, 2026. So early next year, as we kind of were anticipating. Look, we need to continue to be in prayer. This is the first time this issue has been up for the Supreme Court,
Yeah.
so it's kind of a historic nature of the case. Kentucky and more than half of the states have laws protecting female sports.
The whole wave seems to be moving in the right direction.
It does.
Hopefully they continue.
It does, but we really need and pray for a capstone victory on this case. And so we'll be watching that closely. We have already, with a number of our allies, submitted a legal brief at the Supreme Court, and there was a number of female legislators. I think, Greg, we may have talked about this a number of weeks ago. Over 200 female legislators from across the country, including 13 here from Kentucky, joined our brief. This is going to be another monumental case at the Supreme Court.
Well, and I said the wave is moving in that direction. We also are hearing about only 2 genders on passports. The International Olympic Committee saying that you have to participate in the sport, in the gender that you were born in, the sex that you were born in. Those are all good, common sense, scientifically backed moves. So that's great. On the other side, David, you're hearing, not surprisingly, that the left and the liberals are preparing. What are they doing to push back?
Yeah, well, and specifically as it relates to the abortion issue, Greg,
Yes,
there was this, the New York Times published this piece after the recent elections, kind of giving a call to action for liberal Democrats heading into the midterms, and their centerpiece was, we have got to push for abortion laws at the federal level that would simply
That's
wipe
right back
out.
to Roe.
Absolutely. Well, in some
right.
ways, their argument is even further than Roe. Because ultimately they want to see abortion on demand through all 9 months of pregnancy. They want to see our tax dollars pay for it. And so this is something, again, for any Christians, for any elected officials that thought the abortion issue was just going to kind of fade away. Yet again, another wake-up call. We're talking about a life or death issue. This issue is never going to go away, and so we have to continue to advocate. We're going to be doing that at the state level, but we also need we need to continue to encourage the Trump administration to take some other pro-life action, and we need to be encouraging our legislators, in the United States Congress, to be a voice for the voiceless on the issue of the unborn.
But I would add to that, David. Exactly right. It's getting there. And I would add this, David, and I've known this because I've been in this history for the last 20 plus years. The groups that push for abortion, it's not just about aborting the baby. It's, we want to push our agendas through comprehensive sex ed.
Absolutely.
Have everybody having sex with everybody. Literally, they'll say that, and then we got to cover up abortion. And by the way, we can make money when we're doing it. So you got to know that. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for your prayers. Thanks always to the Lord. Make it a great day, and God bless in Christ. I'm your host, Greg Williams, joined as always on Family Foundation Friday by our wonderful co-host, Mr. David Walls. And you're listening to